Is Brooklyn on Long Island? I know I'm asking the big question here. Is Brooklyn on Long Island? Whatever you think, put it in the comments and let me know why you think so. Now, this seems like it would be an open shut. Very simple, easy to answer question. And I think it is. But I'm not from Brooklyn. I have visited Brooklyn. I have family in Brooklyn. But I'm from Long Island. Yeah, see, that's why I got this outrageous accent.
Why do you think I have this outrageous accent, you silly king?
I grew up on Long Island, so some might say I'm a little biased. But then again, if you grew up on Long Island rather than Brooklyn, yeah, you'd be biased too. I think it would be a good bias. Unfortunately, this question is complicated by like someone like my aunt, who I love. She was born and raised in Brooklyn. That's most of her life. And when we moved out, she moved out here to the Phoenix Valley, same time I did. And people would hear me start to talk. And you see, once I start to talk, it's very obvious where I'm from.
Long Island. Oh, shit, this is rich.
Long Island.
So people from Phoenix would say, oh, are you from New York? And my aunt, Mia, she would get indignant. And she would say, I'm from New York. He's from Long Island. So there was this whole big thing. There was a difference between, Brooklyn and Long Island. And people from Brooklyn and Manhattan just kind of looked down their nose at Long Island. So Mia would say, he's from Long Island. He's from the sticks. He doesn't know. He doesn't know nothing. It's like we had no culture or anything like that, which is a whole other video. So you think this is an easy question, and it's not, and it is. And it's not like the question that I raised on Sicilian's Italian, which you can see, I have it linked in the description. That was a lot more sophisticated of a topic, because you're talking about real issues of geography, culture, ethnicity, political. So this particular issue, is Brooklyn on Long Island? That's only complicated by people from Brooklyn, because it really isn't an issue of whether it's cultural. Okay, there's different architecture. Sure, there's different architecture from Nassau County to Suffolk County. That doesn't mean they're different. I mean, you look at the architecture on the east end of Long Island, like Montauk and Amagansett, and then you go and you look at the westernmost part of Long Island. Totally different. So it's very easy to answer this question. Let's look at a map. And there we go. I'll zoom this out a bit. That is Long Island. I guess in the planning stages, they're like, well, what are we going to call this? It's long.
That's what she said.
Actually not. So there's probably not too much into that. But Long Island has four counties that it's broken down to. On the east end, you've got Suffolk County, turning into the middle there, Nassau County. And what do you think you got over here? You got Queens. I'll blow that up. What do you have on the very western end of Long Island, which you can see over here is separated by water? You see the very eastern end, you have the Kings County or Brooklyn, the city of Brooklyn, or the former city of Brooklyn. And it's on Long Island. That's the easy way to answer the question. Of course, Brooklyn is on Long Island.
Why would you say something so controversial yet so brave?
And when you look historically, see, this is one thing I try to, it's only a part of New York City because in my opinion, it was a tax base, something that was done in the 1890s. All right, so it says here, in 1894, residents of Brooklyn and the other counties voted by a slight majority to merge, effective in 1898. So it was more of a tax base. It was a political thing. It's politically part of New York City, but it's geographically, of course, is what else are you asking when you say, is Brooklyn on Long Island? It is absolutely on Long Island. It is the westernmost county of Long Island, Kings County. And if we go historical, which I love to do, so one of the biggest and one of the first battles in the Revolutionary War was called, here, it was August 27, 1776. The Battle of Long Island. Now, where was the Battle of Long Island fought? It's also known as the Battle of Brooklyn. It's the first major engagement fought in the American Revolutionary War after independence was declared. Of course, it's August 27th and, of course, July 4th, we know. So, yeah, the Battle of Long Island is also known as the Battle of Brooklyn. Why? because Brooklyn is on Long Island. So that should settle it, but it's not. I'm sure there's going to be people who disagree, and if you do disagree with me, put it in the comments and tell me why. Why would you think that Brooklyn was not on Long Island? And it can't be just because we're in the sticks or backwards hillbillies. Why in the world would anybody argue that Brooklyn is not on Long Island? I don't know. It was just something that I never understood. I mean, you didn't have to cross a bridge when you're going from Port Washington or you were going from Nassau County and you're going into Queens. And you don't have to cross a bridge when you go from Queens to Brooklyn. But here's the thing. There's 3 bridges that connect New York, that connect Brooklyn, Long Island, to another island, New York, Manhattan. The most famous one, of course, being the Brooklyn Bridge.
I'm the Brooklyn Bridge.
You would like to say it's right there in the name. So that should settle that. Unfortunately, it's not going to. Let me know in the comments what your position is on this. Thanks for watching. This was the big question. And if you think that Brooklyn is not on Long Island, you know what to do now.
Now go home and get your fucking shine box.